So, I am Sinem from Archive, and today we are going to record our first podcast. And I'm very excited that Joe Sarah from Umaversity is also sitting here. The reason why we want to do this is we have been working a long time about circular movement in the beauty industry. So we really want to actually make some impact with this podcast. But on top of it, we really want to give underrepresented females or underrepresented people a little bit more the spotlight. And this podcast is all going to be about empowerment, female entrepreneurship, about entrepreneurship by default, and how we can empower and educate other people around all these important topics that are now in the world. So, very excited. Joe Sarah is sitting here in front of me. Welcome, Joe Sarah. Maybe it's super cool if you introduce yourself to start with.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Jo Sarah. I'm an artist, a speaker, author, and the founder of Umaversity. Umaversity is a multicultural and multi-generational movement that provides safe spaces for you to connect, to share, and learn about the female body and sexual wellness from each other, but also from our 100 plus experts that we have in our community. I started this because there's such a lack of education about body wellness from women. And we need to change that because it's keeping us small, it's disempowering us, and I actually want to empower women, and that's why it's important that we educate ourselves.
Super cool. And I can only say, to top it off with a little bit of sustainability and coming from a minority background, that this is definitely the case. When I got raised, when I was younger, I constantly heard topics about behave like a woman, don't wear too short clothes because you're being too sexual. So I can only empower that. And on top of it, I really believe that corporations today are actually producing a lot of products. So growth is very important with many startups that are there at the moment. So we have so many skincare, so many beauty products as well, where the marketing teams are actually forcing upon children to use more products along the journey. So all these decisions along the growing up, me as a female entrepreneur or me living in the world, actually really made me insecure. So a company like Umaversity, where I can learn to pull my insecurities back again, I would be very empowered. So very excited to have you here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Hey, let's start with a topic today. So, for me, I would like to introduce really female entrepreneurship and how did we get here to be a little bit more empowering. When I heard about your story, I could weep, I could cry, but it was amazing.
Thank you.
So, let's start with how did you ended up as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I traveled the world as a small girl, and I just saw all the possibilities that the world had to offer. And I knew one thing in my life is that I've always been a creator. And so for me, the idea of having a 9 to 5 job, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not for me. So at the age of 15, I started a company having my own dance school because I was dancing 5 days a week. I just love dancing and I just love being creative, and I just wanted to empower people through dance. So that's what I did when I was 15, and since then I've had multiple companies doing all kinds of things, but all they have in common is making an impact and empowering people to make a better change and make a wave of change in the world.
Yeah, super cool. That's exactly actually what we need at the moment as well. If we become empowered, we can also make better decisions, of course, again. So awesome. So your first venture, like maybe you can take us a little bit in loop because I talk with a lot of female founders. We are like portfolio company of Antler. These investors, they come in idea phase, and what you see always a lot, or when I'm like in a jury somewhere to see female entrepreneurs, I always see that they are not a lot. So males are always more than females.
Yes.
That says something like why do women not feel empowered? So maybe we can learn from you why you made those decisions, and on top of it, yeah, many other challenges to come along with that as well. But why did you become an entrepreneur? So maybe we can get more women doing this as well and being more financial different than men as well to empower them.
Yeah, so I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to decide my future. I wanted to shape my future. And I had ideas. I had so much creativity. I had so much love. I had a vision for everything I did. Even every project that I made, that I created, had a vision, and I just needed to do it. And I'm grateful that I grew up with a strong mother that taught me, I want to give you so much more than what I had when I grew up. So, and I also saw, because of the traveling around the world, that there's so much possible. And I knew that if I wanted to be the best version of myself, I needed to do something about it and not just stay small.
Yeah.
So being a female entrepreneur takes a lot of courage. That's number one. It's the step getting out of your comfort zone. Informing yourself is very important as well. Don't just say yes to anything. At least have a few options always. Check things out, research, become smart about your shit. That's so important, because the thing is, that's what men do as well.
Yeah.
And also, be smarter than everybody in the room.
Yeah. So super cool. We already start with the topic of vision because what I noticed a lot, and it doesn't matter what you envision, right? Somebody can be a social media manager. Somebody can be a graphic designer. Somebody can wants to build circularity for the beauty industry. What I noticed a lot from entering as a female founder or the young women that really want to be founders is like, okay, but how am I going to execute my vision? Like, do I need money? Do I need whatever? So this is really step one, where people already build out because they don't know how to execute the vision. How did it go for you? Like, how did you start executing your vision?
So, this is funny that you're mentioning this, because I'm also the author of my book, Manifesting Your Desires, because I've been working on this for my whole life. And the thing is, when you have a desire, the first step that you have to do is you have to envision what your desire is. You have to get really, really clear on what is that thing that you're desiring. Because if you don't know exactly what you want, it's going to be really hard to go after it. It doesn't mean you have to have a whole plan ready. That's one of the last steps, the plan. The first step is, what do I want? What kind of change do I want to make? Who do I want to impact? Why am I doing this for myself? You know, those questions are really important to ask yourself first, because once you know that, you have the motivation and the purpose to start. Because then after that, of course, there are other steps. Because, for instance, this book that I wrote, Manifest Your Desires, is really based on a 5-step, super clear, no bullshit method, where you have the 5 steps. It's not spiritual, it's just you do it. And this helps you to go from an idea, a desire, to actually making it happen. And I've done this literally so many times. And I thought, it's time to share this. So what I'm saying is, start with your desire. What do you want to do? What do you feel called to do? Why do you want to start a company? Never just start a company because you just want to earn money, because that's not enough motivation. You need to love what you're doing. That's number one. And then, of course, along the way, because a lot of people are scared to start whatever they want to do because they have limiting beliefs. That's step 2.
Yeah.
What is holding you back? What are you afraid of? What are you worried of? What kind of relationship do you have with the one thing that you desire? That's so important to tackle, because if you don't become aware of what's holding you back, then you will never be able to do it. And then after that, once you know, like, okay, I have dealt with my shit, you reprogram that into something that works for you. And then you make a plan around it. And I mean, there's so many more things I can say about this, but first start with, what do you want? Become really clear. Write it out. Ask around, do the research. So for instance, for Umaversity, I did I think 8 to 9 years of research, going through things myself, but I had so many conversations with people around the world while I was traveling for my music about how they thought about their sexuality, their body wellness, and how I actually saw that everybody has the same problems, and everybody has a need, a want to solve it, but those tools are not handed to us at all. In no country, no place in the world, it's multi-generational problem, it's a multicultural problem. And the number one cause of this problem is lack of education. So because I just knew, like, I want to solve the fact that women get forgotten during sex. I want to solve that because I don't like that. We should have equal pleasure. I want to solve that women get raped. I want to solve that women don't even know what their vulva looks like. They call it vagina, but that's just one part. I want to solve the fact that women don't even know how to heal their trauma. They don't even know how to reach experts. I want to solve the fact that, for instance, in your case, that women know what beauty products to use that are really sustainable for themselves, you know? And to use makeup in a way that is celebrating themselves and not hiding themselves. Because we have to deal with so much stigma, as you said, especially as a woman of a minority background. We know all of the extra rules that we have to live by, right?
Yeah.
So, and the number one reason to tackle that is to inform yourself of all the possibilities that are out there, because you stay small when you don't know. Yeah. So knowledge is power. So when you want to start your company or want to start your idea, focus on what do you want and researching around it so that you know enough.
Yeah. So actually, high level for me, just to summarize, is you really need to know where the peep you are going, because your plan will be more clear along the journey how to execute it. And then still there will be troubles along this journey. Maybe you are a female, maybe you are a minority, maybe you are in innovative journeys. That will be your bottlenecks potentially.
Yeah.
And that you will overcome when you really believe in your vision and build the community. That's actually quite awesome how you explain. I get a little bit goosebumps as well when you tell it to me as well.
Thank you. I've just really thought about this for many years, and
Yeah.
and I really believe in it with my whole heart. Because if you know what you want, then you also have more motivation, more guts, more spirit to overcome the hard moments.
Yeah.
And making mistakes is all part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I think, imagine we got the vision and we've done it. You know, we're in the next step. We're executing it at the moment. For example, from my experience, what happened to me is also really a lot of personal development. Like, I learned when I was working corporate in startups, I thought, I know everything. I'm hitting those targets like nobody ever can hit those targets. So I was getting commissions, I was getting compliments, high fives from my company. So definitely I left the organization that it was quite male dominated. But on the other side, I also left with a small ego too. Learning into entrepreneurship, especially in the first years, how to spend your money, how to realizing you're not good at everything, but you need everything to make successful. Realizing, depending on what you're working on, if you are building a service, you don't need that much budget, right, etc. So budgeting, falling, standing up, how much more money comes to play, how much more people get more complicated, dealing with people. So many things. What I want to go for is the idea and etc. is just step one, and then the next phases come. How did you handle when you realized? Are you a single founder, by the way?
Yeah.
Just for me to ask the question, right? How did you realize the skills that you were missing or the budget that you were missing? How did you navigate it to that in the beginning to reach your goals ultimately?
Well, first, that's a really good question, actually. But the first things I did was research what those skills actually were. And then networked like crazy. And then I found the people. Within a really short time, I had a team together.
Yeah.
And if you look around you, there are always people that are either willing to learn or that have the skills already.
Yeah.
Or that know someone that knows someone.
Yeah.
And if you are really clear on your vision, on what you want, and you just believe it with your whole being, people also want to invest in you way more than when you are like doubting. If you have a meeting with someone and you're doubting your product, you're doubting your whole vision, that person is not going to be willing to get on board with you. So it's really, that's why the first step is so important. And then, of course, being a female entrepreneur, you really need to know leadership skills, you need to know management skills, financial skills. It's so important. I actually learned a lot when having a team of 8 women all of a sudden, you know, in a short time, how to run a team and how to make sure that everything works and everybody in all the departments, and not to be micromanaging everything, but being the leader, being the CEO, you know?
Yeah.
So you just learn on the go. That's something you have to accept.
Yeah.
But you have always, number one rule is always be open for feedback and always be willing to learn.
Yeah.
Because if you're close to either one, that's when you're going to make mistakes, and that's when your ego's going to get in the way, and your fears as well.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. Again,
Yeah.
goosebumps as well, because that learning on the go, for example, for me personally was as well like one of the things I really realize and I really don't want to do as well at the moment is being a manager. I always thought I can manage people or you can do those things. You already touched a few topics about micromanagement, whatever. But really, in early days, I was very good at building organization structures, how to connect accountabilities, roles to actually your vision. So, on paper, corporate girl, perfect. But the execution, being a manager is really informing your team, being transparent, putting the right people in the right place, understanding their emotions, what is happening at home, are they being productive, and is being people very inclusive to them. It's a skill and it's a full-time job by default.
Yes.
In the beginning, what you also really see is, for example, I have a very heated personality, everything needs to be quick and etc. I really noticed that people were leaving me because of that as well. So I was building team, but then I was impatient or didn't educate or didn't manage actually as well, where this was really challenging for me. How did you, while learning, learned how to be and the middle manager and the leader? Because I believe those are two different topics as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get your struggle. I always made mistakes, but the reason how I've done it so far is that, one, I stuck to my values as a person. I believe in love. I believe in treating people with love and from love. And if people don't give me love back, then that relationship needs to end. So, because my company, I put all my love in my company, you know, in the movement that we started with Umaversity. So the moment a person cannot give love back is the moment I have to say goodbye. So that's number one. Protect the company, protect the love, protect the spirit that is behind the company. Yes? So that's one. Two is that you have to be very sensitive to people, how they're feeling. I'm very observant. I watch people a lot. I talk a lot as well, but while I'm talking, I observe people and I ask a lot of questions. I am very curious about the people that I meet, that I manage. I love to learn about how they move, how they think, because that will also teach me how I can best use their skills. I also use human design to form my teams because I really believe this system helps me inform a little bit how energy systems work. But I really think that if you're open for feedback from your team, because I ask them every few months, we have an evaluation, and then they tell me, I ask them really questions about who I am as a leader, what they need from me, where they want to go. Because I think also part of management, is making sure that people are happy in the places that they are and that the places that they're going to as well. If people are not happy where they are or where they're going to, then they won't put their full energy, their full love into what you want them to put into. So it's making sure that the communication lines are not distorted, everything is transparent, everybody knows where we're heading. It's a lot of informing. That's, I think, one of the biggest challenges for me, because I go fast, I do things, I like to create, and then I want to do things. But informing my team on all the fast developments of the company. That was for me I think the part that I had to grow the most as a manager, as a leader also of the team, because I needed to know exactly what to inform them without overwhelming them with all of the information. So that's also one thing. And being a leader, that's a whole other thing than being a manager.
100% girl.
Being a leader, my leader philosophy is lead by example. Period. If I don't show the example, how am I supposed to tell you what to do? So leading by example is number one. So I have to be about it. I have to do it. I have to do the work. I have to put the energy, the time in it. I cannot just say, oh, you just do this and we'll be fine. No, you have to know. You have to be able to explain what your team needs to do. So, for instance, a lot of the times I actually have done what the team members have done already. Because I either did it myself. For instance, as an artist, I directed a music video myself. I edited a music video myself as well. I was the producer, I'm the songwriter, the singer, all of that. And the same translates to my team. I've done social media managing, I've done content creation, I've done the budget part, like all of those things I've done. So, and of course, I do it once and then I get bored and then I'm like, okay, I want to get a specialist because I'm not meant to be just one thing. I'm meant to be a leader. That is my job, to lead the company.
You mentioned before, it's really stuck in my head about people and productivity and management. And leadership, I feel we have similar touch points. So I get excited about when I'm listening to you.
Sure.
So the first part is I've been raised by, it's about females at the moment, but I am raised by male leaders in my tech companies I worked for. Guys who are actually building ventures and selling it before Series A. That means you already got your seed round, you build it until X revenue, and you go to the next stage. Now, the next stage is always intense, so people don't often like to be there anymore, especially creators not. So these were these types of guys. So when I started being hired there, they really learned me how to become a manager. I was first managing remote teams, then teams in the Netherlands, then started with one channel, then 121. So got a lot of opportunities. So super grateful for that, which also gave me the energy that I know I could do. But there was one problem with me. So this is a little bit emotional. I was secretly always crying at my manager. So if we had one-on-ones on a monthly or weekly basis and he asked me, how do you feel? I always had to cry. And this had to do to my childhood, so it's a completely different problem. But that is a risk on productivity for them because I'm being paid. And I was not in real good relationship with my manager. He was a little bit kind of like a ego guy. But my leaders, they were like, we like her and we like him. So we want them both to be productive. So I learned something at that moment about people and productivity from one of my leaders, which really made me change how I approach also people that I work with at the moment. One, how I am and that things are changing in the world and that Gen Z has a different expectations of management. The other topic is the emotional topic and that you need to provide people with things, includes happiness to make them productive. So he called me into this room and he said at a certain moment, okay, Sinem, how is it going? Just kind of like checking in. So I got emotional again because I was not really good with, at that moment with my other manager. And he said to me, okay, I'm going to tell you a story. He said, it's going to be a little bit, we call it at the old boys club. It's a little bit like man communication, but try to look at it in a different perspective. So he called me, there are 3 W's in humans, in people. It's in Dutch, it's woning, werk en wijf. And how you translate that is how you live, how you work, and how you are being social, actually. So these three components are making a person the basic needs of happiness. And he said to me, if one of is off, maybe your relationship broke, or somebody kicked you out of your house, you're living with a flatmate, you're not happy. Um, the other topic is the days you spend your hours to have fun. Uh, the third W. Or that can be off, right? You hate your job, but the other two are good. He said one off, people are still okay. He said if two starts being off,
Yeah.
people start being unhappy. Three, he said, I don't even want to go there. He said, but my gut feeling says that there is something with your happiness. Like, are we giving you enough salary? He said, are you happy with the conditions here? Are you happy with your living situation? Like, why? What is it that makes you unhappy at the moment where we can thrive you? And I really thought about it in later stage. And every person that was, for example, cranky to me, or I was in a work conflict or whatsoever, I thought about those three W's and I saw that one thing or two things were off.
Yeah.
So that component is so much important. So if you are leading a company, managing a company, and you're underpaying people, or they are socially not happy in the circumstances that they are, they will be less productive.
Yeah.
And they will phase out. So the investment you have done to educate that person for 6 months, they will leave. So those are really important components, I think, for a manager. And so empathy as a woman in this is really important, to not only look at targets and whatsoever, but to give a little bit more.
If I can add on top of that, I also think maybe the fourth category is sense of purpose, spirituality, because the thing is, I do think that there, if all three are great, but the purpose for your company is not there, they don't feel it, then they're just doing a 9 to 5 every day, and that's it.
But that's hiring skills. So you're a leader, you didn't build community, culture, etc. So now I also understand those components of building the blocks of a company, right? You need to have a vision. You need to centralize those visions in primary components of your company. You need to hire to who you are as a leader. Because if I'm like this fun Gen Z girl and I give the freedom to everybody, and I think that should happen in the future, you need to become that leader. Your vision needs to align with the hiring, and then it's also management, looking at emotions, how you manage those people to get the full productivity as well. So fully agreed, and different steps I think as to get there as well. In terms of leader, I have a little bit similarities to you. So in the beginning, I didn't really understand it, but now I understand that my first investor was right too. He made me, so CEO sounds always cool in the beginning, but obviously you're maybe not even there.
Yeah.
But the person needs to have some type of influential skills to actually execute that vision. And people need to follow you, or else what are you doing? Kind of like,
That sense of purpose.
yeah,
exactly.
it's also a freelancer. That's also fine, but that's not building venture. But the person needs to have the capabilities of leading, and leading comes with communication skills and sales. And I hated, I was always in product and development and companies like that, a little bit operational. But actually, I am quite commercial, so to say. So my first investors, they put me there and they were like, let's see them lead. So I am also more the person that I love the excitement of bringing in enterprise to what are they going to say? How is this going? So learning new things, but while also achieving them along the way. But once I've done it, I'm bored. I'm just like, bam, did it, poof, got this enterprise deal in. What's next? What are we going to do now?
Exactly.
But that way you create a mess, right? So you're not managing the bag.
Yeah.
So I really learned that I think I can lead, but I am very poor in management and really building the operational or finalizing a product, for example. And if you don't do that really accordingly, you lose clients, the ones that you bring in. So I think I can lead, but I also really realize I cannot do this alone. But yeah, you need to work on your personality to not be working alone as well. So some challenges that I'm also figuring out along the journey.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not easy, but it's so rewarding though, because at the end of the day, you're doing everything for yourself, you know, like, and not in a way that for your dreams. For me, Umaversity is not. It's not a movement that serves me, or not a company that serves me, but it does serve my being, my soul, you know, because I know that with this company and with this movement, we are helping millions. Our goal is to educate 1 billion women in the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
I can stand up, I can work 24 hours a day, every day for that.
Yeah.
You know, for me, the biggest challenge as a female entrepreneur is work-life balance, because I'm an ambitious woman, and I'm also smart. I'm also highly sensitive and highly gifted. So that combination together with being a creative is that I can just go and go.
Yeah.
And I just constantly have ideas, and I can just go and like the pause button is something that I've had to learn to use,
Yeah.
because it was always play and fast forward for me. And it's nice if you can go fast forward, it's nice if you can play a lot, but pausing is really important as well. And pausing means fortifying the foundation that you have built. Pausing means evaluating, reflecting. Who am I? What am I doing? How am I doing as a leader, as a female entrepreneur, as a visionary, as a team leader, as a woman? You know, am I taking care of my body? Am I loving myself enough? So, for instance, this year for me, my theme is self-compassion, because I think that's one of the deepest forms of self-love, and it's something that I want to master so that I can lead by example for all the women that we are educating. Because self-compassion is something that we do not get taught at all in this world. We get taught self-hate, actually. All of the commercials, what we learn in school. So it's a skill that you have to create, right? And self-compassion is being kind to yourself. So, for instance, when I am fearful of the next step, if I don't know something or if I made a mistake, I'm training myself now to, instead of being like, oh, you fucked up or whatever, or you see you're just a big failure. That's what I used to tell myself, and I still tell myself sometimes. But I catch myself now and I say, no, it's fine. We're just gonna park this for 1 second, and we're gonna be kind to ourselves now. So in that moment, I just stop what I do, and I just do something fun for myself. I eat something really nice. I watch my favorite movie. That's the Harry Potter series. I'm a huge fan. Or I meet up with friends, or I call my friends or my partner. I do something fun that is not work related, because otherwise I'm just too ambitious. I'll just go deep and I'll just try to control the problem.
Yeah.
But just that taking that space and making that space for yourself to love yourself, that has been so detrimental, and like that has been the best choice I've been making so far, and that has helped my company as well. And so that's just a thing that doesn't get spoken about a lot. How do you deal with self-compassion and work and life balance?
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon that because again, like it's funny. I think founders have some type of mentality that is across. It's not like, oh my God, I am so the same as you. But I think though that intrinsical motivation why you do something, for me, it starts with raised by a single mom, fighting for products that are just overproduced, throwing out, because I see an unfair world which is unfairly distributed, which is pissing me off, to be
Yeah.
fair. And coming from that background, I just don't think it's fair how corporations are operating. So this motivation of being pissed off, that's what is triggering to work you so many hours. But it's funny that you said it like this year I focus on the self-love part. Like if you don't do the self-love, there is no company to fight for.
Exactly.
Especially in the beginning,
Yeah.
you already are that team of 8. I'm still leading at the moment with a few people intern there, volunteer there. We are just not fully there as well. But if I'm not there, one day even, or if I'm going on a holiday, it's actually there is no business yet. So the self love is actually crucial. And what you do in the beginning is, and I also believe that men do this differently. For example, when you're in fundraising, their salaries are the most important than their motivation. So I really put myself always on the lowest of building the venture of archive. That also means I paid myself out as last, paying the rent, etc. So what happens along this journey? You work for 24/7 hours, 7 days a week, 80 hours a week, if not more. You sleep with it, you wake up with it.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like being intensely in love. I look at archive immediately when I wake up on the phone, and I sleep with it too. I fight with people about it because I really believe in the journey. And if you do that for 2 years long, nonstop, no holidays, no social outlets, so no self love by default. I have eczema attacks in my face now every year in December and January. And I can even go further with my health situation. Last year, I was talking to myself. My mother got really scared because I was socially not being active anymore. So, putting yourself on the last spot, not putting self love on the front, and I'm even getting emotional when I talk about it, it's the worst what you can do as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because you are priority number one. And I even hear sometimes founders talking about burnout of their interns. I care about them too. But if you are not there, if you're not leading the business, there is no business to lead.
Exactly.
So the priority even would be, did you hire the intern? Is he pissing you off? Then maybe it's not the right fit. Sometimes you need to make also complicated decisions by picking yourself as well.
Yeah.
So
Choosing
this
yourself
year,
over
yeah,
things.
this year I really said to myself, I love you, but because of that, I also let go people as well. And I'm really taking my weekend. Saturday is my day off. Sunday, I slowly start again. I started dating, talking about self love. I was
Nice.
not having a relationship for a long time, and I always said Archive is my baby. Archive is a product. So
Yeah.
this is not your baby.
Yeah.
Like when you make love to somebody, when you kiss with
Cannot love you
somebody.
back or give you a.
Yes. And that's really what I getting chicken goosebumps again. But that's really what I needed after 3 years of working hard, having some love for myself. And I went on a holiday, and my brain started working like boom again. So every founder not prioritizing self love is
Yes.
actually a terrible decision. And if an investor is promoting you need to work more, I would say you do it yourself at a certain moment because it can wait sometimes.
Yeah, I love like that you just shared that because it's very I recognize a lot in your story. I have a chronic problem with my esophagus, so I have trouble swallowing and keeping food down. I vomit every day a lot because of it. It's a very rare disease, and I've been neglecting these problems for the last 3 years. And I've been working with pain sometimes, short nights, not being able to sleep, and I was just pushing and pushing, and I created amazing things and I did amazing things, but I also knew that I was exhausted sometimes, and when you're exhausted, you cannot be creative. You cannot find creative solutions for the problems that you are facing. All you see is just everything getting worse. And I thought to myself, if I keep going like this, I won't. First of all, I will start resenting the company I've created. I will start resenting the purpose. I will start resenting myself, the people around me. And I don't want to become that person because I'm a positive, energetic, purposeful person, hopeful person. And I thought the main thing that kind of changed my mind is because I know Umaversity will be a global $1 billion company. I know it. In my deepest soul, I just know it. From the day I had the vision for it. But if I want to be able to lead a $1 billion company like this, it's not going to work. Because I won't even be able to have meetings or to have like important moments. Like I'll be too tired. So I have to change who I am right now to be able to vibrate on the level of that $1 million earning CEO, right? So that's also when where the manifesting of my desires comes. I want to get there. I want to reach billion women over the world. And the only reason why I want to become rich, why I want the company to become rich, is because with more money you can make a bigger impact. I can have the freedom to create new solutions, better solutions, innovate, research, all of that, educate even more. But I need to also be able to be on that level that I need to be. Yeah. So I have to do the self-work. I have to really go deep and ask myself, why am I choosing myself last over everything? Where does that come from? What kind of emotional trauma, what kind of wounds do I have, So I've been doing a lot of EFT tapping. I've been having regular sessions with my psychologist. I've been meditating, breath work. I've been talking to my friends. I've been very open about this. My partner is also a great conversationalist. He is very wise, and he sees me every day and he says, okay, I see this and this, And just being super honest with yourself. I think that's also a really, really important character as a female entrepreneur, to be honest with yourself always. Because if you lie to yourself, you're going to lie to everybody.
Yeah.
Honest with yourself, being humble, being open to have that self-reflection always.
Yeah. Super cool that you say it. I think let's jump to 2 more questions. One, I want to touch the topic of being single versus having a partner as an entrepreneur. And the last topic is we want to give something back to the people that are listening at the moment. So I would like to know, what are your biggest learnings finally that you would really like to give back to the people that are listening to this podcast at the moment, coming from your experience and role? But maybe let's start, because you talked about the partner. Do you think your partner, I don't know if he was there since the beginning of Umaversity, might be nice to know. Do you feel structured with a partner, or is he standing in a way? What is the added value, or what are the disadvantages, for example, as an entrepreneur?
So this is interesting, because this is also where manifesting comes in, because I manifested my love life as well. I first did the self-work on myself, because I was so happy single that I was like, okay to be 90 and single and have no kids, just be by myself. If you get to that point, the only standard that you will have for accepting anybody is someone that makes your life better, that adds value to you. And I had 5 paragraphs of things that I would like to have in my partner and in my relationship and in myself when I'm in love with someone. And I even thought, I don't even know if this person exists, but I'll keep a little bit of a door open. And in the meantime, I'm just going to have fun, go on adventures. I really believe that as a woman, you should definitely explore. You should explore your sexuality, have your heart broken a few times, learn from it, write down what did you like about that partner, what did you not like about that partner. And then every time, level up, upgrade yourself, upgrade your love life, right? Never go back to where you were before. And the thing is, I wanted a partner that made me grow as a woman, as an entrepreneur, and as a person. So I manifested that, and I found a person that is all of that and more. Literally all the 5 paragraphs, he's that. And every day I'm so grateful. And he actually was there when I started Umaversity, but I had the idea before. So he saw me start everything. And I could have done it if I was single as well, because I was at that point that I was also really happy by myself. But I must say that it's so nice to have a partner to support you when you're feeling fearful, when you're feeling like a failure, when you're feeling down, or you're just want to have someone to talk to about issues or decisions. So, but it's only added value if you have a partner that adds value to you. Yeah. So don't just have a partner, because you don't want to feel alone, because that's a problem in yourself, So a partner is only an added value if he, she, or they add value to you, because then they add value to your company as well.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, this is a topic I thought about also for a very long time. Beautiful, by the way, about manifestation. And I'm super happy for you, of course, that you find a partner that is really
Thanks.
fulfilling and also letting you feel good. Because I can imagine many women don't have that, or males, or it doesn't matter, of course. Um, but yeah, me, for example, as a single person, I thought about it a very long time, also about the 3W topic that I was explaining in those times already. When I look at very successful leaders, for example, most of them had partners, um, which sometimes made me doubt about, do I need a partner, yes or no, or something. But maybe it's a weird topic to mention, but my gut feeling really says that having a partner um, gives you some type of structure. So a good example is, for example, when we didn't have the structure anymore going to the office in Corona, what happened was we were rolling out of our beds and we were sitting behind the computer until 10 o'clock, and then we were rolling back. Like it was, there was no limitation. There was no like stopping, breaks, going to the coffee machine, talking about your day. How was your day?
Social life was gone. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel when you single, you have a little bit the same shell. Like, um, I am used to doing things now over 10 years in the way how I like to do it. I am pissed off when somebody is too long in my living room or asking too many questions. Or so I became this person without that shell or something, where I feel that I would miss sometimes that person to come to talk about my day, to get my energy out, but also listen to the other person. So having chapters of love in my day and some structure in my day. And I feel with a partner, I could have that, for example. But then at the same time, I'm saying, okay, I don't have time for it. I don't have time for love, which is touching self love a little bit as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm busy with archive. I'm so busy. I don't know if I can give the love to that man that is now coming into my life. In the first years, I was also trying to make it financially stable. So, can I give happiness in
Yeah.
when one of my W's is going down at the moment? All these questions, like chicken and egg problem in my head. But now,
It also do with self love as well. Like, do I? It has to do
deserve
with
it.
the belief. Do I deserve it exactly? And I know that a lot of women struggle also with the fact that they want a partner, but a lot of I've experienced this myself, and I hear it a lot that a lot of partners cannot handle the power that you hold as a female entrepreneur, as a leader. And so what happens is that in a relationship, you feel smaller, you feel less powerful. And a lot of the times we settle for less. We settle for that. That's like, okay, I'll just not tell my story so much. I'll not, be excited about my wins because he's maybe failing in his life, or she or they. But it's so important to attract a person that is your biggest cheerleader, and you'll also be their biggest cheerleader. But that is also another important thing. If you have a partner, they have to be your cheerleader, because if they try to make you smaller or disempower you in any way, then they're going to be destructive for you and your company.
Yeah. I listened to this chat as well not so long ago. It was about quite a female, like somebody that looks at things in perspective or context, where if you come from a chaotic childhood, it tends that you look for new chaotic environments.
Yes.
It can be in work and it can be in relationships as
Attachment
well.
styles.
I think I found the balance in work by having an addictive personality in something positive. So working a lot, etc. And then I feel in relationships, I'm still a little bit toxic. But how I age, and how I'm talking more to women, I was curious about my personality, for example, saying, why is this woman picking the nice guy? And why is she, for example, me? I love when I'm being ignored. I love when it's more tough. But those men don't love you. And
You mean hard to get?
yeah, those men don't really care about you. Like, So why do you do that recurringly, for example, or somebody that ends up being cheater? And for example, after 10 years at the moment, I started dating, and I see that at the age of 37, because I really believe entrepreneurship changed me as well. I was looking at different topics with the last dates I had in the last weeks, because I'm really excited to date a little bit more these days. But for example, I told one guy about what I find important, that I need to take it slow after 10 years. That I am a person that maybe is bored next week when we scheduled it too early.
Yeah.
That I am sometimes aggressive because that's just the life I. And this guy, to the things I've said on the first day, it's like he made mental notes. It's crazy. So when he schedules a date, he tells me, he said, but if you don't want to do that that day, it's okay. We can do something else. But without giving me that feeling. But also, like I told him, don't come too close quickly. Don't be agreeing with me all the time. But also don't ignore me. It's like super
Yeah.
complicated personality. And now he sends me now and then a message like, hey, how are you? Had to think of you. But at the same time, he lets me take the control. And I noticed that I love that so much at the moment. A guy that really cares and is kind and is also really respectful, that you're in an entrepreneur or doing media type of stuff. Because I also saw guys that didn't enjoy that.
Exactly. And then they,
So it was not empowering. And
But you know what you did? You communicated.
yeah.
And
I
that's the number
communicated.
one thing that people don't do in the beginning of dating.
Yeah.
They just assume.
Yeah.
And so with my partner, from moment one, we communicated exactly, because we were both okay being single for the rest of our lives. We both
Yeah.
worked on ourselves. So we were like, we didn't need each other. But we just noticed, oh wow, you're really adding value to my life.
Yeah, cool, man.
That is so cool. You're making me happy every day. You're like you're teaching me stuff every day. You know, you're giving me amazing orgasms, like all of that stuff. You know, that's just amazing. And so it's really about then communicating, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is a non-negotiable in my relationship. This is my value in life, you know?
Is he an entrepreneur too? Just to quickly.
He's an entrepreneurial mindset. He's getting into his business. And I know that whatever he's going to do, he's going to be super successful. Because he's so smart and he's so wise and he's such a people's person without being like a social butterfly, but he sees things that other people don't see.
Beautiful.
And I think that's a very, very rare trait as a leader.
Hey, one last advice for the listeners at the moment, the entrepreneurs among us and who want to enter these journeys. What is your lesson that you can give actually to all these young female entrepreneurs and other entrepreneurs that want to step into the game?
So stay curious, believe in yourself, and stick to your values.
And love yourself.
Yes, also believe in yourself for sure. Yeah. So stay curious, put yourself first always, and then, believe in what you do. Go for it.
Okay, guys, then final question just for the podcast. Do you have any questions that you would like us to discuss about entrepreneurship, about self-love, about the topics you hear, etc.? We've been through them all. So just send us a message in the comments below, email us, send us a smoke signal, and we will definitely discuss them in the next podcast. Thank you so much. You.